When you get caught up, I've got 2 of our Rotary Minute videos.
Okay, all right. I may not be able to, because I know like Mary and Ray and Trina want to go over their presentation with me.
Oh, okay.
So I may not.
That's fine.
Warning, okay.
Whatever you want to do, that's fine.
Okay.
Boy, that screen is
I know. Mic test. Hey. All right, thank you.
I think excuse me, I do have my mask. Technically, I'm supposed to have it on, I guess. And I ordered a salad for today.
Oh, yeah, when you
Who
go
do
up
I-
there, let them know. Give them your name and
okay.
tell them that you ordered a salad. Yeah.
Sorry for the barrage
Okay,
of
no
emails.
problem.
I'm like,
That's okay. I work.
no, I know. I don't like have that at all times, but I'm like,
Yeah.
so
No, that's all right.
yeah.
Feel free.
Yeah, this is the first Rotary meeting I've been to.
Okay, all right.
So it looks pretty fancy.
I mean, you've been here before. You were
Oh,
on
of
the
course.
screen.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in person.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I see that they're trying to distance with 4 a table.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but they take their masks off to eat, and so.
okay. I like your nose piercing.
Oh, thank
Do you always wear that? I guess
Yeah.
I haven't noticed it. It's really tiny.
Yeah.
It's cute. Well, anyway, just wanted to say. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'll be sort of a little stressed, to be honest with you.
You're what?
A little stressed, to be honest with you. Got a bunch of shit handed to me. I'm trying to figure out. Sorry.
No,
Aren't you
that's
glad you
okay.
asked?
No, no, I was just, we were just talking about since something, some of us have more time than others. Hang in there.
Thank you. How did it go yesterday?
Oh, it went well. He's three. He's a handful.
Okay, so it's not like a baby, like, yeah.
Okay,
Just write it down on the pink slip, he'll sign in.
okay, because I actually put his name on the reservation.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that.
He'll be,
We'll have enough room to kiss me.
he'll, you know, he was here to meet Nick, he was here to meet Chip and Dave, but Chip's not here. So.
Yeah, Dave coming, I can send him out.
Last I heard, Dave was going to try to come.
Okay.
But hopefully Chip should be. I brought everything just in case.
Oh, yeah.
But hopefully.
I put him toward the beginning of the agenda so we could. Oh, there he is right there.
Dad zoomed in.
All right, I got before I do it.
Okay. I don't have my system going yet, so I'm just a little backed up on that, but
We'll leave
I
you
don't
in
know if
there.
you wanna, I don't know what to do, the agenda for I think
Is there a clicker?
there's a clicker, but it's so far away, it usually doesn't work.
Okay,
So
so
you'll
we
probably
just
just have to
say
tell me and I'll have to do
next.
it.
Okay.
There is a pointer, this can point if you want to use this,
I think it'll be good. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys
We're
can
pretty
take
quick.
this.
Okay.
Okay, now mine needed a laser pointer, no?
I'm probably just gonna point at it.
Oh,
Oh, I guess. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
you can't
you do,
because you
right.
have to be at the mic. You're right.
Right.
I'll just describe it.
We aim it at the projector.
No,
Right.
Pointer, you just aim at what you're pointing at.
Okay.
yeah, because
So
you don't want to
we'd have
blind the
to-
people on
Yeah, right. We'd have to step out around.
I think I think what I'm just gonna do is just describe the photos with like the person to my left or to my right, and the photo to the left or the right. Because I think laser pointers, the people on Zoom won't see it. So
Oh,
it's
they
better
don't.
if we
Okay.
better
Well,
if we
in that
just
case.
yeah,
Okay,
describe it.
all right.
Now, my only concern is that we make sure that the notes don't show.
I don't think it will.
I'll give you
You
guys
got
a
it.
presentation.
Yes.
But I mean,
It's not as
I don't know, sharing on Zoom can be a challenge.
okay.
Yeah.
I've had issues with Zoom where it won't show, it won't share the presentation, it shares like this view.
Oh, interesting.
But I mean, this, I mean, I could always pull that down too.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it'll be too bad either way. As long as they get the gist of it, right? We're good problem
Okay, and you've
solvers.
got
Hey, Heidi. I hope you're having a nice vacation. Now I can see you. Oh. Yeah, you're on mute.
There we go. I couldn't find the button because I'm out in the sun and it's too bright. So.
I thought just reflection of your face, you know.
Yep. Yeah, Dennis is on the golf course and I'm sitting by the pool. So.
Oh, you didn't have to tell me that. Oh, grief here. You're gonna get some time. How long are you gonna be down there?
We come back on Sunday.
Okay.
We got here Sunday, so full week.
Oh, nice. Yeah, good deal.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Well, I need to take Les on a trip after the district conference, so we haven't figured out what, but we're going to be doing something soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We went to a district conference up at 5950 up there in Edina this past weekend. Took the doors up. And
I'd like to welcome you to the Marshalltown Club of the International Rotary Organization. Please rise and join John Fink in leading us who will lead us in the prayer and the pledge.
Welcome, Rotarians and guests. Before I start my prayer, I'd like to give thanks for the good weather for the farmers to get their crops in the fields. And at least we got a little rain yesterday. It wasn't much, but we'll take more. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
I'm wondering if they can hear me at the meeting. Mary, can you hear me?
Well, I think the important part's on virtual anyway. So.
It doesn't look like they're hearing you, John.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it either.
We got it now, John. Thank you. We are now
Okay.
ready.
Okay. Before I start our prayer, first I'd like to welcome all the Rotarians and guests. I'd like to give thanks for the good weather that we've had over the last few weeks for the farmers to get their crops in the fields. And yesterday, even with the slight shower, it's better than nothing. So please pray with me. Father, thank you for showing us mercy and compassion to us at the cross. Prompt us today to lift up the widow and the fatherless. Open our eyes to the needs of the stranger, the outcast, and the poor. Restrain us from doing anything but good. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. I think we may have some guests today, so if you have a guest to introduce, please come up and introduce them from the podium.
My guest today is Peg Gall, and you will see her again in a slightly younger version on the program.
Good afternoon. My guest today is Anna Vaughn. She's the administrative assistant at the police department. So if you want something done at the police department, that's who you need to call. She runs the show there. So welcome, Anna.
My guest today is Eric Nihilus with United Bank, and he works with Norris Foundation.
My wonderful wife wanted to come today and see the presentation of these two today because she had been in some of those areas. So very much appreciated. So she came today.
Welcome to all of you. We also have Steve Bacon, who is the district governor, who is visiting our club today, and he's visiting by Zoom. So Steve, you want to give us a wave? Is he there? There he is. Glad to have you. Thanks for coming, Steve. Okay, today we have a very special presentation of the Nick Norris Award, and so we're going to turn that over to Eric and whoever else is doing that today.
Yeah, can we hear him? Chip, this is Chip Norris with us. I'll let him introduce himself, but part of the Nick Norris's family. He's up in Minnesota joining us today. Sorry. Yeah, let's try that again. This is Chip Norris. I will let him introduce himself. He is part of the Nick Norris family and a part of the foundation. And he's up in Minnesota today joining us. So Chip, if you can hear us, go ahead and you can do the presentation, and I have the goods.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eric. I'm honored to be here today, albeit virtually, to present the Nick Norris Foundation's Junior Rotarian Award. Nick was my uncle, and he served with great honor as a pilot in the U.S. Navy, losing his life while attempting a night landing in very rough seas off the Midway in 1964. We have an outstanding recipient this year. Oh boy, do we. Here's just a few highlights. This year's winner was a member of the delegation for the advancement of history, an organization for students who have love and passion for history and want to pursue their interest outside of regular school hours. He has been a member of the National Honor Society for the last 3 years, and as a part of this service for the organization during his senior year, he chaired the annual blood drive that the group hosts at the high school. He is also one of 3 members of Students Teaching and Empowering Philanthropy, also known as STEP, which is a student-led organization that awards $10,000 annually to nonprofit organizations within Marshall County. Since his freshman year, he's been working to earn the Silver Cord of Service, a recognition awarded to individuals who complete a minimum of 200 hours of community service by the time they graduate, and that's a lot. Also, as a member of the St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Parish, he serves as a hospitality minister, greeting parishioners and ushering during Mass. He enjoys delivering Meals on Wheels to residents of Marshalltown with his mother during the summer and when his school schedule allows. He's played soccer throughout high school, earning a varsity letter and academic all-state first-team honors. He is a straight A student and currently ranked #1 in his class, and he plans on attending the University of Iowa, where he is enrolled in the honors program. Congratulations, and it is my great honor to award this year's Nick Norris Junior Rotarian Award to Noah Hermanson. Noah? And Noah, you will be contacted to receive all of the pertinent scholarship information. Congratulations again. And I just thought I'd mention to you that my dad, Dave Norris, is in attendance today. And he says, you know, you're never too big a deal to get out of those fishing contests with him. So, you know, congratulations again from the entire Norris family, and quite an outstanding achievement.
Congratulations from all of us. And thank you very much, Chip, for joining us by Zoom. That made it extra special today, as well as having you here, Eric, as well. First of the month, we get to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. So Linda, if you would like to come up now. Yes,
Yes, it's May, believe it or not. And tomorrow is Mary's birthday. So that's exciting. And we also have Dan McEvoy, Richard Naughton, Teresa Becky, Steve Matson, Betty Bowler, Robert Gaylord, and Paul Hermanson.
Thank you, Arlene. That always makes it more special, and Linda too. Okay, those of you who are celebrating a membership anniversary, if you would please come up in front so we could recognize you. Number 1 on our hit list is Arlene Selby. So if you would come up, please. Nope, don't be shy. If I contacted you, come up. Yeah. Arlene has been a member of our club for 4 years. They've been great.
27 years.
She corrected me 27 years, so I'm not sure about that gap there. So we'll have to correct all of that.
Well, I've been here for 27 years.
She's been here for 27 years, she said. Well, anyway, the prize is the same. So we're very glad to have you as a member of our group. Gary Shout is celebrating his 6th anniversary, and he could not be here today, I don't believe. Carrie Barr, 15 years. Next is Paul Beals. Again, he is not with us, 15 years. Paula Hartman, 21. She's with us by Zoom. Congratulations, Paula. Give a wave.
Thank you.
Joynell Raymond. Yeah, Joynell Raymond, 25. Rick Anderson, 16 in our club plus 10 in the Mason City Club, makes 26. But that still puts you behind Arlene. Keep that. Doug Boyd, I don't know if Doug made it today, I think maybe not, 35 years. Roger Chase, I delivered his yesterday, 41-year member. And Jim Lawrence, where's Jim? I hope he's here today. 46 years. So congratulations to all of these wonderful members of Rotary. We'll see you next year. In the way of announcements, last week, a total of 57 members participating in our meeting, which was wonderful, 46 in person and 11 on Zoom. Those of you who need a little reminder, there are pink sheets on your table. Please sign them even if you're a guest today so that we can give an accurate count to the chef. And then also sign up for that email. Just a heads up, let's see, Jim Goodman, you're here, right? You want to come up next?
Is it my birthday? Oh. No, I'm here. I'm sorry I'm late, but I'm here to announce we're having the annual food drive. Remember, we had a food drive last June. We're going to have it again this year, June 19th. So mark it on your calendars. It'll be Saturday, starting in the morning, going to about 1:30 in the afternoon. I believe we're going to have it over in the community parking lot configuration. We ran it along the south side. What else can I tell you about it? It's for non-perishable items, you know, canned tuna, canned goods, pasta type goods and things like that. We intend to have it fixed up at High V that you can, if you don't want to go in and shop for a bunch of this, you can go in and buy a standard sort of grocery sack of groceries and bring it over and donate it. We split this between food pantry and Salvation Army. Right now, the committee that's kind of the ad hoc committee that's kind of working on this is me and Tom McCoy, Rick Anderson, and Mary. But we'll be reaching out to a couple of more of you. It's really a nice event and a nice morning. Last year, I think we raised about $2,000 in cash and about $2,000 worth of food. So it was about a $4,000 deal. We'll be doing some advertising, some PR stuff through KDAO and KFJB, and hopefully through the newspapers with the goodwill of the members that we have in those concerns. And so I'll have more to report on that as we go along here. Thank you.
And thank you, Jim, for agreeing to head that up again. It's a really worthwhile project. Also, just to give you a heads up, we have an opportunity to to water the flowers along Main Street because they're going to put the baskets up again. And so we're hoping to have a Rotary week where we'll do that. And so some of you know it's a little bit early in the morning, but you come in pairs, so there's somebody else there. And we're going to take, I think, the week of June 21st through the 27th. So check your calendars, be thinking about your availability. The best way would be if we had enough people so that you only had to do it one day. So we'll have sign-up sheets next week, and Betty Bowler is helping us with that. That concludes my announcements, unless there's anything else. Okay, as you know, we're trying to accent the international today, and our program is going to be given primarily by Mary Dooley and Anthony Helgerson. So I'm going to ask Kim if she'll get our slides up. You guys want to? You're good? You'll see that we can impact our community, not only our community, but also the world as a member of Rotary International. Next. And I wanted to just kick this off by reminding us of the things that we have been involved in as a club in Marshalltown that have been involved with international impacts in the last 10 years. Next. And if you remember our vision statement, I hope that was familiar. Together we see a world where people unite and take action for lasting change across the globe. That's what we're accenting today in our communities and in ourselves. Okay. So across the globe, you might remember that we were involved in helping finance a sun oven for the Jonathan's House Orphanage in Bow, Sierra Leone. We've also been very active in South Sudan and near Old Fangok. Okay. We have contributed continuously to the Iowa Most Project, which is the Miles of Smiles team that annually goes to Guatemala and helps repair cleft lips, palates, and does EMT work as well as cataracts. And we participated in the District 6000 project to repair club foot using the Panzetti method. And Dr. Panzetti is a University of Iowa. And I want to call your attention to the fact that we have a book about Dr. Panzetti and this method that was given to our club, and I would love to give it to anybody that would be interested in following up on that. Recently, we contributed to the flight around the world to end polio that hopefully will happen this next spring. with John Ockenfels and Peter Tien. And a reminder that they're hoping to raise $1 million and reap the benefit of the $2 to $1 match from the Gates Foundation to make a big impact on that. We also participated in World Bicycle Relief that provides bicycles. District 6000 particularly, I believe, furnished bicycles in Africa. And this past year, Steve Davis took up. You can see these can withstand a Category 4 hurricane. We understand the importance of that here in Marshalltown. It's also fireproof, termite-proof, machete-proof, has lockable windows and doors. It can construct it in a day and it lasts for 75 years. So many wonderful projects that we have been involved in as a local club. So now I'm going to introduce Andrina Helgerson, one of our new members, who's going to tell about her experiences as a student.
All right, guys. Yeah, so the second portion of this presentation is really just focused on Rotary's Youth Exchange Program. And if you go to the next slide. So I was looking back and I felt like Rotary Youth Exchange was like maybe a few years ago. Turns out it's almost been 10 years. So amazing how time flies. But I was sponsored by the Ottumwa Rotary Club. Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah, Mike's shy. So I was sponsored by the Ottumwa Rotary Club. So that's my hometown's Rotary Club. And ultimately, I knew about Youth Exchange because we had multiple exchange students stay at my house when I was a kid and as I grew up. And my parents are still hosting exchange students to this day. So I was really lucky to be involved, but I think this is a great opportunity to raise awareness to this because if I hadn't been hosting exchange students in my family, I might not have known about the program. But ultimately I went to Brazil, and more specifically, I went to the state of Santa Catarina, which is down south of Brazil. And one thing that's probably nice to know, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Brazil is about the same size as the United States without including Alaska. So it is a pretty big country. It's larger than most people think. And I more specifically lived in a town called Timbo. And in the next slide, I kind of talk about Timbo has, it's around 50,000 people. So not like I went to Rio, something a lot more jarring on differences from a small town in Iowa. But something that was really interesting is down in southern Brazil, there's a really high influence of German and Italians. And you can kind of see that in the picture. I realize the picture is kind of small, but a lot of their architecture had a lot of German and Italian kind of mixed in there. And that was kind of interesting because yes, Portuguese is their primary language, but a lot of people down in the southern part of Brazil also spoke German and Italian, which will kind of play through a lot of the other slides coming up. So what's really great, or I think in my opinion, about Rotary's Youth Exchange Program is that you stay with 3 host families. So they kind of take into this account that not every parent's parenting style is representative of the nation as a whole. So I live with 3 host families. The first is Albury and Viviani, which is on that far right side. And they were super lovely. And what was really fun is that they didn't speak pretty much any English. So you were really focused on, I gotta learn Portuguese because I have to be able to communicate with my host family. And they were really nice at like things that you would never think of, but I didn't know that they didn't put toilet paper in the toilets down there and things like that. Work through a lot of learning experiences with me. So they were really great. And then my second host family is the Ramiro family. And that is Regina and Ramiro and underneath the number 2. And they were really great. I had a host sister named Hannah, and she was just super energetic, lots of lively times with her, lots of dance parties, and she was really into novellas. So I got into that culture. And then my third family is the Koch family, and that is Jefferson and Cynthia, which are on either end of the couch. And they were, what was really fun about having 3 host families is that each parent had very different parenting strategies. So having lots of children grown up, they were very hands-off on their parenting, which was kind of nice in the end because you're trying to resilient experiences and being able to check off all your bucket list items at the very end. So that was really fun. And what was really nice about my families as well is they lived in different areas. So kind of similar to what you could imagine in Marshalltown. My first host family didn't live in town. And my second host family lived kind of on the outskirts. And then my third host family lived downtown. So it was kind of a lot of experience in not only different parenting strategies, different sizes of families, but also where I was like physically located as well. One thing I thought was really interesting is we have Marshalltown's high school. My hometown had a very similar high school structure, but this building on the left or right side to you guys is actually my school. But actually the bottom level is actually a whole bunch of shops and it's right on Main Street. And my school was actually just the second and third floor of that building. So not what I was expecting when I went to school. I was actually kind of confused, like, am I in the right spot? Like, am I going to the right thing? So, and then this is my whole like class, I guess. So a little bit smaller than Marshalltown's class size, but something that was really interesting. Yeah, the school looked a little different, but also I was kind of immediately exposed to a different environment because on my first day, every single one of those people came up to me and hugged me and kissed me on the cheeks, which is not normal from Iowa, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys are into that now, but it was a good experience because it kind of immediately brought you out of your shell and you're like, okay, yeah, like I have to get used to being in a different environment. This is my host Rotary Club at a fundraiser that they were doing. And they were, in this photo, they're making polenta, which is kind of the Italian kind of going back to the Italian-German influence. But also on the top, what is Brazil's kind of native dish, and it's feijoada, which is basically it's just like beans, but it tastes amazing. And they put a whole bunch of different meats in there as well, typically pork-based. But this was just one of their fundraisers that they were doing. And then one thing that's really great about Rotary's Youth Exchange is that they really focus on making you be able to be part of a lot of different things for that region and understanding the culture within that area that you were living. So like I said, there was a heavy German population, but what I was actually surprised by is that the second largest Oktoberfest in the world, not just in Brazil, was in a city like an hour and a half away from where I was staying. And the city's name is Blumenau, which is very similar to what we imagine like with Pella's Tulip Time with their Dutch influence. It was pretty much a very similar structure with Blumenau and a German influence. And so this is a photo of me at the very early stages of the Oktoberfest in one of the very many tents that they had. And Brazil has a lot of, if you're thinking about stereotypes, there's a lot of like dancing and lots of having fun, and I would say that's very accurate. There was a lot of dancing, lots of fun. But next slide. And then I'm gonna wrap it up with kind of talking about Rotary also does a lot of, with their exchange students within each country, typically there is a way that you can experience not only the area that you're involved with, where you're staying, but also being able to see the rest of the country. Because if someone stayed in Marshalltown, that's not necessarily representative of the whole United States. Living in Timbo wasn't representative of entire Brazil. So I went on their Amazon trip, which is a life-changing experience. We basically stayed on a boat, and the hammocks that you see in there, each kid was given a hammock, and that was our bed for the week. So that was really exciting, stayed on the Amazon River. And then in the next slide, so we did a lot of different things. My highlight was holding a lot of wild animals, something I was not comfortable doing before exchange, very comfortable at the end. And that was, this is a sloth, but snakes, baby alligators, things you would never think you'd want to hold, and completely comfortable. Even in the next slide, even some wild friends. What's really great is that you make a lot of great friends studying abroad, and it's really great because you get to learn about all their cultures as well. And then the other trip I took was what they call Nordesti, which is basically, it means northeast, but basically that's kind of touching on the coast of Brazil. It's a lot of beaches. So I'm not going to make you look at a million pictures of beaches. This one's pretty representative of all of them. But we also went to Rio, Sao Paulo, and Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil. It didn't feel like networking, but like being able to understand kind of, oh, what was it like living, like growing up where you grew up, and how does that differ to what I am used to? There's a lot of ability to discuss with other people kind of the differences in culture. And then to kind of tee off Mary here, I just wanted to touch on something that I thought was really interesting. Rotary Youth Exchange kind of, you don't realize that you're making lifelong friendships until you kind of make a presentation about it and you're like, oh, wait, I do that. But this is my friend. The left side is me at district conference right before I studied abroad. And to my left is my good friend Ellie. But at that time, we had literally just met at conference. And years later, he went to Iowa State. We randomly ran into each other in a dining hall, became friends, didn't even remember that we knew each other, and lifelong friends, still messaging today, great friends, we plan trips. It's crazy the friendships that you can build through youth exchange. With that, I'll tie it off to Mary.
Okay, so you can tell which one of us is young and which one of us is old. The old one has the notes just in case here. So next slide. Way back, decades ago, I was a student too. And back then, I was sure that that was my once in a lifetime experience. Well, as you can see, since then, not only have I been back 10 times, but we have had visits from my host family and from friends. We've been in numerous exchanges. We have hosted through Rotary twice, and we sent our younger daughter to France as a Rotary exchange student. So I'm going to take the long range perspective on exchange programs here. Okay. So instead of the once in a lifetime, I now think of exchange programs as the ripple effect. Dropping a pebble into a still pond, picture the ripples that that produces. So in 1964, that pebble changed me. It changed how I view the world, how I view my part in the world. And it produced lifelong actions for me. And the actions I took then also gave my family and my friends different perspectives, broadened their horizons that none of us would have had we not dropped that first pebble. Next. So in 1993, our Rotary Club and Marshalltown sister cities did something that had never been done before. We jointly sponsored an exchange student from our sister city of Bujanevsk. And Irina Karina, who is in the back on the left, went through the selection process and was chosen to represent Bujanevsk and come to Marshalltown. We were her first host family, and we welcomed her into our family just as one of our children. Now, Irina was not used to farm life or really church life, but she embraced all of it. And as we watched her move then to the next family, Don and Edie Hodges, and then her third family, Joel and Sharon Greer. It was wonderful to see the changes in her because she had arrived as a very reserved, very quiet, shy girl. And despite having won that through that extensive selection process, she really didn't have a lot of self-confidence. So it was a wonderful thing to be connected through the other families as well, to watch her mature and change. Okay, next. Then, of course, she went back home. Now, this was the mid-1990s, and at that point in time, Russia was switching from state and collective farms to introduce some private enterprise farming. And of course, you know, we farm. So I wrote a 2-year federal ag grant that let bring from around our sister city of Bujanas to stay on Marshall County farms for a month to learn the thought process that goes into making decisions as farmers. And Irina was our interpreter. As Peg Gall and her husband Jim and my husband and I, we had all hosted the Russian farmers, and we did a follow-up visit as part of that ag grant to evaluate the effectiveness of the grant. Okay, next. So Irina translated for us in official meetings, in informal settings with our host families, and of course, out in the field to watch your child succeed. Next. So then lost contact with Irina for nearly 20 years. And she was very busy, as you can see on the slide, in those 20 years, but we didn't know that. Finally, a year, her mother found an old address book, and Irina emailed, 8 or 10 of us, and of us all, only one, Joel, in his law firm, had kept the same email address. So we got to reestablish contact, and we were amazed at what all Irina had done. Next. So now, I thought it would be fun for you to hear directly from Irina. And I hope this works. She has recorded some short video clips for us. And just in case the audio doesn't come through real well, I have kind of put the essence of what she's saying up on the screen for you.
Hello and greetings from Russia. First of all, I would like to thank Mary Dooley for giving me such an opportunity to speak to you, and once again thank the Rotary community for bringing me over for a year and letting me get this unforgettable experience. It's unbelievable that already more than 25 years have passed. Time flies. So, did my life change after a year I spent in Marshalltown? Yes, indeed. For sure, I became braver and stronger. I became more self-confident and hardworking.
Okay, and the next one.
So the international experience I got in the USA was very helpful for my both jobs. And while teaching, I always promoted the idea that the best way to study foreign language is to go abroad. Go abroad and study language, get cross-cultural experience there. And I know for sure that quite a lot of young people were inspired by my stories, and they got their education outside of Russia in different countries, and they managed to build, and I'm very proud of that too. So, in order not to take all Mary's time, I better finish now. Once again, I would like to thank all Rotary members and personally my host families, the Dooleys, the Hodges, and the Greers for such wonderful experience. I often think of the times I spent in Marshalltown, and I really hope that I have a chance to visit again someday. And of course, welcome to Russia. I will be happy to see you and be your personal guide in St. Petersburg. This city is worth seeing, that's for sure. Please come and enjoy. Thank you and goodbye.
And Irina doesn't know it yet, but we're going to take her up on that next year, we hope. So now we hosted again in 2000, and that was a very different experience because the student was quite different from Irina. Kinney has never been called shy or reserved in his life. He was exuberant, fun-loving, loved to make jokes, was a bit of a smart aleck, but sweet underneath. And again, we embraced him in our family, so much so that when his second host non-Rotary family didn't work out, we were glad to have him come back and spend a total of about 6 months with us. Now I'm going to jump ahead, but we'll come back to Kinney. So 2015 marked Melissa's 20-year anniversary of being a Rotary exchange student in France and my 50-year anniversary. It had been her dream to someday take her children to spend a month in France and let them experience life there. And so after 5 years of planning, we did just that. Along with the touristy things, we also visited her host families. From a parent's perspective, it was wonderful to meet her host father, her host mother, her host sister Clarice and her husband, and to be welcomed Melissa. Next. Now, Melissa's children spoke no French. Clarice's spoke very little English, and it took about 2 minutes for the kids to figure ways to communicate and to enjoy playing together. Next. And the trip was everything that Melissa had hoped it would be for her children. So we got together also with her second host family, and as you may have noticed from both pictures, it was summertime and they love to eat outside, even if it means transporting everything out there. It was also a time of renewing friendships. Melissa got together with Stephanie, her best friend, and later in the trip, my best friend from Germany, Angelica, and her husband, Carl, flew to London to spend a couple of days with us. Lifelong connections, Andrina. So now back to our reunion with Kinney, because that was also during that trip. He knew that we were going to be in southern France, and he flew up from Senegal as head of logistics for a large shipping company, responsibilities for several African countries. And he spent several days with us. Next. Now, Melissa's children had never met Kinney, but they were delighted to have another uncle who would play with them, teach them the proper way of playing boule or pétanque, as they call it. And that takes us to closer to now, 2019. Some people have destination weddings. We had a golden wedding celebration in Northern Ireland and Scotland. And it had been my dream to have all of our children together for that. Still makes me a little choked up that our kids made that a reality. So Irina came from Russia, and Kenny and his wife Rayana came from southern France, where they now live. He works now with a different company, but still logistics. We had a wonderful week together as a whole family. Our kids there with their families, and Kenny and her as well. And it warms my heart to know that these connections are going to go on down through the generation. Through COVID, we have kept the family connection with transatlantic Zoom calls. So now, in 1964, that pebble started off the ripples that have positively led our family and friends. And so I will end with my call to action for you all. I know several of you have hosted, know the benefits of REIX programs. I hope the rest of you will consider that, whether it's sending a student or hosting one, whether it's as the full-time family or as a weekend host, where you just take them on special things with you, have them over to show them another glimpse of American life. The Rotary Exchange Program can have lifelong positive ripples in your life, in your families, and in your friends. And I hope you'll consider it. Thanks.
Andrina has her packet that we sure to show.
I failed to show this earlier, but there was a photo of me at conference, and it was obviously a little bit less decorated, but it's amazing. You feel like you're not meeting that many people, and then you walk away with a jacket like this. But Rotary Youth Exchange, how it works is usually you bring a pin from your host country, and then when you meet another exchange student or sometimes Rotarians, you exchange pins. So you don't feel like you're meeting a ton of people in a year, but it's amazing how many people you can meet. Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, I'll leave it on the chair.
So I'd like to thank Andrina and Mary again for a wonderful, informative program and inspiring also. One question I asked her was that my husband and I had talked about hosting someone, but didn't feel like would be kind to the student because we didn't have young children in our home anymore. And they assured me that maybe not the first host family, but the second host family would be great because they would already have made all of their friends in high school and they would be glad to be in our home. So if some of you are thinking about that excuse, that should put that to end. So anyway, I'm cognizant of our time. So if you have questions, be sure and approach them afterwards. I know they'll be glad to answer them. Next week, Mike Tupper will be presenting the program, and his topic is police reform, myths and realities. So we hope to see all of you back. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Please join me in repeating the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And five.
I now declare our meeting adjourned. Anybody want the book?